Hey guys, it's Jacob Hart with High Point Land Company. We get asked all the time about the things that I should look for when buying farmland. So we thought we'd put together the 5 top things that seem to come up every time that somebody says, I'm interested in buying farmland. Teach me about what I need to know for getting involved in this investment. This is not financial advice by any means. I'm a real estate broker in about 5 states. We sell hundreds of farms a year across the Midwest and manage quite a few farms across the Midwest for absentee landowners. Own a bunch of them personally and desire to own more. Things to look for when buying farmland. Number 1, define your goal. What's your goal? Are you looking for portfolio diversification? Are you into stocks and bonds and other types of real estate around the country and you want to get into farmland? And are you interested in fractional ownership farmland through a fund, or do you want to own the farm yourself? If you want to own the farm yourself, that might be the goal. There are some different opportunities that come along with that. But if the goal is to own farmland on your own, this is what this video is about. Also define what's the reason? Are you looking at 1031 exchange out of an apartment complex or out of a commercial building or out of a different piece of real estate that was a farm and now is being absorbed by a highway or a development piece of ground and want to keep it into farmland? Did you grow up on a farm and you want to have that in your portfolio because you understand everything about it and you want to get back to those roots? Defining the goal is a big part because it allows you to, 1, define the goal based on the money, based on the area, and based on the timeline. If you define the goal and say, hey, I grew up on 160 acres in central Iowa, I know everything about corn and soybeans, and I have $2 million from an apartment complex exchange, now you start to define the search area that is based on the goal, compared to giving one of our brokers or agents or auctioneers a call and say, hey, I want to buy farmland. The first question they're going to ask you is what state, what price, what ROI, what crops. They're going to start asking you a lot of those questions. So if you have the goal established that I want to do a 1031 exchange and I have a timeline, or I have X amount of dollars that I've acquired this way or that way, and I want to save money on capital gains tax by doing a 1031 tax deferred exchange, something like that, define the goal. Second in line, due diligence, hiring a professional. If you get a great land real estate agent or farm manager, they will save you a fortune compared to an agent that has never sold a farm, never owned a farm, never dealt with farm financing, never dealt with tenants, never dealt with tile projects or flood projects or whatever it may be. A professional, in my opinion, is worth their weight in gold in the farmland category. The due diligence is very important from a map perspective. Getting the professional to provide maps for you for the tile system, the wetlands, the future development growth plan from the city or the county, any maps that you can get on the property about the soil quality, you name it, on the farm is going to give you the information that you need through due diligence. The next thing is, who are the tenants in the area? What kind of money are they paying for rent? What kind of crops are they growing? What are those crops used for in a commodity market? Are they sustainable? Are they a new crop, or have they been used forever? There's all kinds of crops that have been grown on high quality farmland for a couple of years and then it didn't pan out. The market went away for it. There's crops that have been grown on farmland for a very, very long time and more than likely are going to be used for a very long time or grown for a very long time on that high quality farmland because of the products that you're in. So if it's a corn and soybean farm or a wheat farm, those go into many products around the world and have a huge import-export business tied to them compared to some crop that might be not so sustainable from a market standpoint. So don't get tied into the great ROI on a farm just because it has a crop that's the new best thing. Be careful on those things. We've seen people get burned on that topic where they bought it and the use was for this new crop and there wasn't a track record there, and then they went back to farming a product there that was substantially less in yield or rent on that property. Next, the tenants in the area. Look at the area and say, who are my tenants? Are they big operators that have huge operations that are super efficient, or are they small operators? And you look at those individuals and say, how sustainable is that farming operation? If 1 or 2 people were to have some some catastrophe happen, would the tenant go away on this property? If his tenant is willing to pay X amount of dollars and a super high rent, is that sustainable, and are they making money financially with their business, or are they going to go out of business in a couple of years? You want to look at it for the long term. Farmland offers a lot of stability in portfolios. We sell farms all the time to folks that say, hey, I'm involved in all these other categories in my investment portfolio. I want to be involved in farmland. I've read a lot about it. I've heard a lot about it. I've watched a lot of YouTube videos on the topic. I want to be involved in that. Folks have had success in our experience in the past having this be the steady flow and the steady property that isn't going to be the highest ROI on investment. Have people made a lot of money in investing in farmland? Absolutely. For the long term is usually when that happens. It's usually the steady in the portfolio. So to go try to have that be the highest ROI in the portfolio might not be the best risk adverse part of the portfolio. Next is look at the expenses and try to poke a hole in it through the due diligence. What are the property taxes? What's the insurance? What's the farm management? What are the current repairs? A farm might be just beautiful on paper, might look good, and then you get out there and realize that over the hill it has a big washout issue, it has a hazardous waste issue, it has a tile line that's broken that's not approved to be fixed, it's tiled. We saw a farm one time that was a tiled wetland and had all these restrictions on it where the tile had to come out of the farm, and the seller wanted to sell the property because it was a tiled wetland, and there was all kinds of fines coming down the line for the folks finding out that he had violated wetland restrictions, and that tile was all going to have to come out of that farm. So you want to do your due diligence, you want to look at the expenses on the farm and make sure you're not missing anything on the topic of net income versus gross income. The fifth thing is the opportunities for growth. We're always looking for farms that are expandable, farms that haven't been taken care of, farms that need a little bit of work, farms that can have irrigation added to them or tile added to them, provide some tax benefits as well as some increase in rent or yield on the farm, or maybe a new tenant or a new type of crop that can be put onto that property and substantially increase the ROI on that farm. So those 5 things are what we look for when buying farmland or recommending folks take a look at a farm, and we hope your land investments pan out for you. We have a lot of farm management clients that just want more farmland because it's very easy, it works in their portfolio, they don't have to babysit it or manage it, and has been a good investment for them in the past.